Hello, Central New York, and hello, hockey fans all across the internet, and welcome to the Central New York Hockey Report podcast right here on the Studio 25 Podcast Network. I'm your host, Scott Kinville, and we have got an awesome show lined up for you today. You know, there's some big news coming out of Syracuse that there is a Syracuse Hockey Hall of Fame in the works. As a matter of fact, it's just about ready to go. And today, our guest is a member of that inaugural class. He's not only a going to be a Hall of Famer, but he's also a team owner. As a matter of fact, he's the team owner of the Syracuse Crunch, Mr. Howard Dolgon. Howard, how are you?
It's great to be here, Scott. Appreciate it.
Oh, I appreciate you taking the time. I'm sure you're very busy. You got a lot of things going on, but I want to congratulate you, first of all, on adding Hall of Famer to your list of many accomplishments.
Thanks. It's been a crazy year. I was real fortunate in July to be inducted into the New York State Hockey Hall of Fame.
Yes.
Up in Troy, New York. And you know, it was when I first got the call about that, it was like, why are they inducting me? I thought they had made a mistake. And then being up there and being around the other inductees, Mike Eruzione and Dennis Potvin, who won 4 Stanley Cups, and of course, Eruzione, the captain of the Burger and Ice team, it really hit me. And this honor accompanying this Saturday is really special.
No doubt about it. And Rennie does a fantastic job with not only the New York State Hockey Hall of Fame, he's got the Basketball Hall of Fame, the Baseball Hall of Fame. Everything that guy does just seems to turn to gold. And I tell you, it's awesome.
He's got more energy, that guy. It's amazing. It's amazing.
I wish I just had a quarter of his energy. That's all I ask for, you know?
Yeah.
But this Saturday, the Syracuse Hockey Hall of Fame, the inaugural class will be inducted. And, you know, it's like I was telling you before we went on the air, I think this is a fantastic idea because actually Rennie was a great inspiration as far as I'm concerned in starting the New York State Hockey Hall of Fame. But Central New York, and especially Syracuse, has such a rich hockey history that I always felt it would be great, a fantastic thing for all that to be recognized. And you, my friend, are a part of the inaugural class.
Yeah, you know, we've been at it since 1994, actually since 93. Well, efforts started in April of 93 to bring a professional American Hockey League team back to Syracuse. It took probably about 13 months. It was May, I think, 5th of 94 when we got approved by the league. And it's been a wonderful 30 seasons into 31 now. And, you know, it's unimaginable. And I certainly can't even think about my life without the Crunch. You know, it's like it's so ingrained in me and everything I do and, you know, who I've become. And it's been a wonderful ride.
No doubt about it. And you know what? I mean, with the Crunch coming in 94, it really filled the hole here for the AHL in Central New York because, as we know, the Utica Devils left in 1993, leaving the AHL out in the cold, so to speak, until you guys came along and filled that. And boy, what a job you have done for the past 31 seasons of entertaining everybody in Central New York with Syracuse Crunch hockey. What a ride it's been so far.
Well, you know, I know it's a cliche. You can't do it without a great team. And our staff, probably where we're at now in 2024, is probably stronger than it's ever been. You know, I've been blessed to have people like, my brother, Vance Lederman, by my side since day one. And he's the day-to-day person here. Jim Sorosi, who's, second to none when it comes to operational. Started as an intern 29 years ago and has grown into one of the great executives in the league. You mentioned earlier Megan Cahill and Andrew Marino and on and on and on. And it's a real commitment that people have to make because, if you want to work for a sports team and think you're working Monday to Friday, 9 to 5, you will be in for a real shock early on, especially in the hockey season when we have 31 of our 36 regular season home dates on a Friday or Saturday night. That traditional let's go out for dinner on a weekend has to become let's go for dinner on Tuesday night, right? And then playoffs too. So, you need people who understand what the lifestyle is going to be, who are committed and feel that they've got an ownership in the team in a very special way. And we've been real fortunate to have so many people with our organization that feel that way.
I'll tell you something, the Crunch, and I'm not saying this just because I'm talking to you, the Crunch are so unbelievably accommodating for any request from anybody. I mean, take us, for instance, we're this little podcast in Central New York, and here we got the owner of the team on for the second time because you came on last season.
Yeah,
too,
yeah.
Which we really appreciate.
It was last year, yeah. It's interesting. I was downstairs. I flew into town. I went to the arena. I wanted to see the coach for a quick minute, then just checked into the hotel here and to do the podcast. And I was talking to the coach, and there were two players I had not met. And I won't mention them by name, but both are new to the organization, playing their first year. And both of them were talking about how great they get treated by our staff. And they'd been with other organizations on the junior and the pro level. And they went out of their way to tell me that this is second to none, how well everything is teed up for them, the facilities downstairs, the coaching, the trainers. And it's wonderful to hear because that's what we want to accomplish. We want the players to have one focus: playing hockey, training, staying in shape, not worry about the mundane issues that, are part of life. So we try to make their lives as uncomplicated as possible so they can be the best player they can be.
And people don't realize just how huge that really is. Especially like if you got a player coming into town that's got a family or something like that, there's several other factors to worry about. And you and your staff and the entire team just take that worry right off their plate. So like you said, they're able to concentrate on playing hockey. And I got to tell you something, I have never heard a bad word about the Crunch organization in any regard.
No, it's great. I mean, we set them up with a bank. We set them up with the cars. We help them find the apartment or the houses to live, the right neighborhoods, where they're going to eat, where they're going to go shopping, their wives or girlfriends. It's important that they're occupied and happy and part of the community early on. So we do activities for them. We're doing something, I think today or tomorrow, we have a full-time wellness mental health coach, and she does yoga and meditation. And she's going to do a session with, I think, 15 to 18 of the players' wives and girlfriends so they can bond and do something together. So it's important. I mean, everyone comes, most outside of, Daniel Walcott, Wally, who has put his roots down here and had a baby. Every other player, and you can say this about every team and even a lot of the National League teams, they spend their season in the market they play in, and then they go home, right? And home could be Europe. It could be another city in the U.S. It could be Western Canada, but when they're here, we want to make sure they feel that this is their home, whether it's 7 months or if we make a long playoff run, 9 or 10 months. And that's so critical that their families feel taken care of. So their focus could be on being the best of what they do. Because for them, we're a step to somewhere else. And we understand that. We want to help them get to that next level in their careers.
And it sounds like a true family setting for not just, the staff, but for the team, for everybody involved.
It's wonderful. And it trickles down to the coaches. And it's a happy environment. It really is. And our staff loves engaging with the players, and the players like to come up and sit down for 10 minutes and just talk, about life. And, because they train, they play, they practice, they eat. And, there's going to be time in the day they want to socialize. And I think that's important because we are one organization. Syracuse and Tampa, the hockey side, the business side, we're all one. And it's important that we all get to know each other and we all feel like a team at every level.
And it's the little things that mean so much, and they add up to such big things. They really do. So I'm going to go back to the Hall of Fame here because, like I said, this Syracuse Hockey Hall of Fame is such a wonderful idea. You've got some great people that you're being inducted with here. So I got Scott Walker, the Wild Thing, part of the inaugural Crunch class. Let's see. Ed Kotchin, who was, well, I mean, I'm going to let you explain this because you can
Yeah,
explain this a lot better than me.
I can run you through them all for sure. And, I'll start with Brian Elwell, the late Brian Elwell. So Brian played hockey. He's a Quebec, Brian passed away, I think, about a year or so ago. And Brian was from Quebec, and wound up playing for the Syracuse Blazers here in town, East Coast League team, which was popular here for about 4 or 5 years. And Brian was probably the most popular player, probably the best player in the team, and wound up settling here and opened up a nightclub and a restaurant. And then in the early 90s, Brian took it upon himself to try to attract an American League team. But what Brian was doing was looking at teams that were owned by the National League team and trying to get them to relocate. And he started up with part of a group called Ice the Future that were collecting names for season tickets because he wanted to show a prospective team or a prospective owner that they had a good grassroots effort going. And when I was approached by the American Hockey League about the market of Syracuse, one of the first persons I met was Brian. And Brian had tremendous enthusiasm. And I remember he owned a small restaurant in town, and we would come in and meet, have breakfast with him, and we keep him updated on the efforts. And, he certainly kept a hope for hockey coming back to Syracuse alive. So I thought, the committee thought he was certainly worthy of the inaugural class, because without Brian, the league probably is not looking at Syracuse because of the failures it had.
Sure.
But Brian got the enthusiasm back. Ed Kotchin was the deputy county executive at the time to Nick Pirro, but he was the point guy. And Ed and I battled. We battled hard on leases and a whole bunch of things, but I always had a tremendous respect for Ed because at the end of the day, he wasn't a politician. He was a guy who wanted to do what was best for his community. And he recognized that bringing a hockey team back at this level that was run and funded properly could really do wonders for not only the city, but Onondaga County. And he was pivotal, played a huge role. So, Ed to me was, from a political standpoint, the most important person. I mean, Nick Pirro was great, but Ed took the lead. Alan Taylor was my business partner in our primary business in New York. And, when we decided to make a run of this, I needed him to be 100% on board because I was going to be taking time away from the main business that was, paying my bills and was growing at the time significantly, knowing that I would have to spend time trying to get this thing up and running, even before we played a game, and then keep it running. And Alan, was known as a real pioneer in the sports PR business. He actually built it as a business. And Alan's now 88 years old, but over the course of his career, worked with everyone from Michael Jordan to Muhammad Ali when he was still Cassius Clay.
Wow.
They had a very strong personal bond, to Billie Jean King, who Alan was the first call she ever would make when she had any kind of PR crisis. And she had many, as you know. Alan was responsible for putting Bruce Jenner on the Wheaties box, second athlete of all time, and then every other athlete after that for years. So he was a lot behind the scenes, and good that at an advanced age of 88. Now, unfortunately, he was all set to come with his wife, his children, his grandchildren, but he fell on Monday, and he busted up his face pretty good and busted his wrist. So, unfortunately, he's in no shape to travel. So his daughter and his son will come and accept on his behalf. And I told Alan, because he lives about 10 minutes from me in South Florida, I said, well, we'll do a special ceremony for him, when he's feeling better.
That's an excellent
And
idea.
then Scotty Walker, we could not have picked a better player to epitomize what Crunch hockey and what Syracuse represented. A blue-collar guy who got everything out of that little 5'10" body, who intimidated guys twice his size, and wound up having a significant NHL career.
He sure did.
I remember visiting Scotty in the locker room after games. His knuckles were raw. I mean, he took on all comers. The crowd just loved what he epitomized. So I think this year we have 5 going in. I don't think moving forward we'll have more than 3. But I think for a lot of reasons, the 5 made sense this year.
But that's great news that it's going to be an annual thing, because this is awesome.
Thing, yeah. And we're going to have a display in the arena. We've got beautiful plaques. And we're doing something real special. We're going to, how the NFL Hall of Fame has the yellow jackets? So we're doing a blue jacket for every inductee.
You know what? You read my mind, because that was on my list of questions. I was like, I got to find out if they're doing something like this.
You got the scoop on that for sure. Yeah.
Perfect. Dave, we're making a reel of that for sure.
All right. We got it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So we're excited. I have 2 of my sons coming up that are going to induct me. Brian Ellwell's widow and one of his daughters will be there. Head coaching his daughter, Lauren, who runs the most now, who's a real mover and shaker. She'll be inducting her father. So we're putting a personal touch to this. And hopefully you'll be there on Saturday to join us.
Well, if I can get out of work, I will be there. It's getting out of work is going to be an issue. But
take a long lunch.
Listen, you know what? This is actually worth getting fired over. Are you kidding me?
I'll write a note for you.
Perfect.
I'll say, listen, he had to come.
I might have to take you up on that offer.
I'll do it right now. What's your boss's name? Or her name?
He doesn't know the connection.
We'll talk about that off the air.
What's the connection? Tell me now. Who do you work for?
Well, I'm working. My part-time job is a station in Utica, WKTV. So I'm working there all day. So
is that Galaxy owned?
No, that's Heartland Media.
Okay, because I would call Ed Levine for Galaxy.
Yeah, I know.
Well, Utica, what's interesting? So the ironic part, our video person is out of town. So we are actually utilizing the Comets video person to video the event. We have a great relationship. Rob Esch is probably one of my closest friends in the league. And Rob would tell you, I helped him as a mentor when he brought the team back. He's done a great job in Utica. We love having them. So anything you need to get you here.
You know what? That would be awesome. It really would. And that's actually very good to hear that, people think on the ice, obviously the Crunch and the Comets have this huge rivalry, but off the ice and behind the scenes, it's so great that everybody gets along like that, because it's such a boom for Central New York hockey.
Robin is one of my favorite people. And I think what he's done there, nobody else from Utica could have done. They couldn't.
Nope. I totally agree with that.
He had the passion, he had the reputation, he had the connections, and he continues to. Now his team is in a very, having a very difficult start to the year, which we don't mind when we play them. but I like to see him get some wins, not on Friday night when they play.
I was just going to say, you don't want to start on Friday night, do you?
No. But you don't like seeing a good friend struggle. We know what it was like. Year 4, we won 18 out of 80 games, and it had a very negative impact on our business. I don't want to see that happen to Robert.
No. And, exactly. And it would just be the best for hockey.
Yeah.
For them to turn it around a little bit and get back on track. And, we like I said, we'd love to see a Syracuse Utica playoff series. That would be amazing.
That would be insane.
It would be off the charts, beyond a shadow of a doubt.
Yeah, we like that.
No doubt. But yeah, so your ceremony, the induction ceremony, is actually at 12:30 right there at the Upstate Medical University Arena, and then they're having a pregame ceremony that night.
Fans, it's open to the fans. I think we can get about 100 or 125 people to the ceremony on Saturday. But then anyone who's not able to make it, obviously the majority of people will do a small ceremony on the ice, where the honorees will get once again they get their plaques presented.
Yeah, that's excellent. And again, I think that's such a wonderful idea, having that set up at the arena, because I mean, obviously that arena is very historic, and what a perfect spot to have something like the Hall of Fame at.
Yeah, and Jim Syracuse has talked about this for a number of years. I know there's a Syracuse Sports Hall of Fame. For whatever reason, they have not put a priority on hockey. And so we felt like you said, there's a great tradition here. You've got some outstanding pros, but also some great high school coaches, some great, junior coaches. So as we move along year to year, we want to make sure those people get the recognition that they've earned and deserved.
That is great. That is fantastic, because that's really what it's all about too. I mean, and basically with that Syracuse Hockey Hall of Fame, it now becomes the hub for stuff like that, for recognizing people that maybe wouldn't get recognized otherwise, but most certainly deserve it.
I mean, people, there's certain names. I'm going to throw a name at you that for me deserves to be in the hall, and it's a guy named George McPhee. Now, George is now, he was the assistant general manager for the Canucks, moved on to Washington to be the GM. Then when he left Washington, became the GM of the Vegas Knights, and they won the Stanley Cup. But when George was the general manager of Vancouver, he was the guy I dealt with to move their franchise here. And we actually purchased their franchise, which was in Hamilton, Ontario, in distress. And George was somebody who believed in our organization, but more importantly in our market, where the track record was not impressive. And without George having that belief, who knows who would have? And to me, that alone, and it's a name people may forget, but without George, we may not have a team here.
He's a great guy and a great hockey mind.
Yeah. So there are so many people that I don't think we're going to have a shortage. And now that the Crunch has a 30-year history, there are so many players that have passed through here and gone on to success in the NHL that, get the start here that can be recognized. I coach, So this is a great start. And like you said, it will be a yearly tradition, 100%.
You know what? Now, for sure, I have to know when these dates are in advance, so I make sure that I am not working anywhere. Because I work 2 jobs, and I got to make sure I have got those days off beyond a shadow of a doubt so that I can be there.
Well, we're still working on this year for you, so.
That's right. We're not done yet.
We'll put the letter. I'll put it on Crunch letterhead.
Yeah. Hey, perfect. Yeah.
And you could do interviews there. You're for the station.
That's right. Maybe I'll have to tell them that. I have to, hey guys, listen, we got a golden opportunity here.
Yeah.
To cover an awesome event. So I'll be in contact with Megan.
I want to see what kind of sales guy you are.
Here it goes.
Well, I tell you, Howard, I can certainly talk. That's for sure.
Well, there you go.
Well, let me see what I can do. That would be really something. It would be great to have on the newscast as well.
Great.
For sure. But yeah, so again, 31 seasons of Crunch hockey has been out of this world for this area. You're being honored in the Hall of Fame, but let me ask you a question. You've been around for 31 seasons now. What are some of the things that for you as an owner have gotten easier to own the team, and conversely, some things that have gotten more difficult as far as owning the team?
So I'm going to start with the difficulty. And if you look at difficulty is probably not the the best word for it, but when we came to the league, we had teams in Albany, Adirondack, Binghamton, Syracuse, Rush. You had 5 New York State teams. Right, we're down to 3.
A lot of competition.
Right.
Yeah.
So that was great because we had the rivalries.
Sure.
And I think sports still thrives on rivalries. So the fact that Binghamton left, 70 miles down the road, Albany was a 2.5-hour ride, Adirondack a little further, but it was still significant, right? I think the competition for players, even at our level, has gotten greater because the money's increased.
Right.
And
that's a big factor.
There are players who will choose money over opportunity. And the great thing about Tampa is they have pretty much a cap on what they'll pay their veterans on a 2-way deal for us. And I understand it and I appreciate it because we'd rather have a player that would take less money to be part of the Syracuse Tampa organization, knowing that the path to the NHL and improving your game works. And if you look at it, the plethora of players that have come out of here, some who weren't drafted and have gone on to have significant NHL careers, is probably greater than most others.
I'd agree with that for sure.
If you've got another organization offering $100,000 more, a lot of players or agents will justify making that decision. We've been consistent in keeping our prices low, ticket prices, because we know that there's a lot more for people to do. But we also know that live sporting events, certainly post-COVID, have become way more popular.
Right. Ooh, the signal froze up.
What COVID taught us, among other things, is that the world can stop anytime.
Totally agree.
And so you're not putting off going to that concert when a band tours next year, or that football game or that hockey game. You're going. And we've seen a significant increase in our attendance. And that's been a real positive for us and for other teams. So, it's like any business, it's hard to find talent and retain them because people don't want to work. They want to work from home.
It is so true.
And now you're asking someone to work during the season. Like my folks, if we have a game like this week, we're home Friday, Saturday. So my staff will come in on Friday at 9 and leave an hour after the game. So let's say 11. So it's a 14-hour day, and they repeat it on Saturday. So that's 28 hours. And if they work 8 hours to 4 other days, that's 32. You're 70 hours.
It's a long week.
Now we feed them, we do what we can do, but that's a 70-hour commitment. And you got to love what you do and the opportunity you may be able to take from it. And, it's hard to find people.
It is.
It's hard.
It really is. You're absolutely right. That pandemic changed things more than we're still finding out how much and the many different ways that it's changed our world. It really has.
The media has changed. We used to have in this market, when I came to town, a morning and an afternoon paper.
Yes.
And now, you have Syracuse.com, which is great, but, it's, people aren't reading papers anymore.
Absolutely.
So we've had to create our own media, which Megan's done a great job at.
Well, certainly. She sends us everything, and my goodness. Wow.
And we've got to keep creating content. So the world has changed, over certainly the 30 years. But the goal remains the same. The goal is to put on a quality product, to entertain, to make sure that the corporate partners feel they get value from us. So they keep committing, because the more they commit, the more we can keep our prices reasonable. And then at the end of the day, the big goal is to win a championship. And I close my eyes from time to time, and I dream about what that would be like.
Oh, I
and
know that would
how
be amazing.
we would celebrate it in a city and a fan base that deserves it. Because this fan base has been loyal through the bitter and the sweet, has such a tremendous, genuine love for the team. And you can see it. You can't disguise it or make it up. The passion, and I always go back to the last game of the playoffs when we lose and we're no longer playing. I always look at the faces of our fans, speak to them, and it's such a sense of loss. And it's also it could be mid-May, and they're like, we have to wait now 4 months to come back here. And you look at it, and I feel that same pain and disappointment, but I appreciate how important that is, that we have fans that feel that way. Because you can't create that. I mean, we have created, but you can't make it up. And
right, I know what you mean. Yeah.
They're engaged. They understand the game. They're appreciative. And it's our job to continue to pay it forward to them.
Certainly. And I'll tell you what a wonderful way to tie into the Syracuse Hockey Hall of Fame and to win the Calder Cup, bring it back to the city that won the first ever Calder Cup.
Yeah.
What an amazing circle that would be, huh?
It would be, this city, we would put a party on. The entire city would have a hangover for months. I guarantee that. For months.
That would be amazing, actually.
We would pre-write excuse letters for people not to go to work or school. We would send it out digitally, like, you're taking off.
Just fill it in. It's all right.
Close your business for the day. Give the teacher a day off. It'll be the end of June. School's over already. That's what. I believe me. I've imagined what we would do. We would have to shut down Central New York, literally. No airplanes coming in. 81 would be shut down. 690. You name it.
I am all for that. That would be incredible.
Done. Believe me.
That would be amazing.
And I would ask for permission, and then ask for forgiveness if they don't do it for me.
What are they going to do if you got 500,000 people just, not going to school, not going to work? Hey, so what?
You know what? We deserve to, just like we deserve to do the first outdoor game in 2010, just like we put the first game in the Dome and set the records. Syracuse will show the rest of the country, this is how you party. When you win a championship, not your traditional floats and, the parade. No, we're shutting everything down.
That's right. And you'd have to have the Canal Mules be a part of it, too, because I see they're coming back for a promo night, too. It'd be awesome.
Yeah, everything gets shut down. We'll keep the gas stations open. We'll keep the hospitals naturally, a couple of pizza places here and there. But everything else, you're off work. You're not going to school.
We got to keep some stores open so you can get more beer, too. That's, you have to.
No. That'll be pre-planned.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Oh my God! I could imagine the Onondaga County executive listening to this, going, "Oh my goodness, we better start planning."
He'd be part of the parade, Ryan. 100%.
Yeah, exactly.
We'll get the governor here. We'll get the senators here. You name it. Bring alumni back. It would be an event that nobody will forget, because
that would be incredible.
When it happens, you need to There was an old ad campaign for MasterCard when they were a client of mine. It was called Master the Moment. And we would master the moment big time.
There you go. That would be perfect.
They'll be telling their grandchildren. The 10-year-olds now will be telling their grandchildren 50 years from now. It's like Bobby, it's like when Bobby Thompson hit the home run.
Yeah, shot heard around the world.
And a million people said they were there. Everyone will want to be here. That'll be it.
Love it. I love it. That would be amazing. Well, Howard, thank you for taking the time to come on here. I know I held you a little bit longer than I said I was going to, but congratulations on your second Hall of Fame induction of the year here. And of course, congratulations on the continued success of the Syracuse Crunch. We wish you all the best in the future, and I will see you soon at the rink one way or another.
I'm hoping to see you Saturday.
Like I said,
have your note written.
I might have to reach out. So
you have Megan's number. Just reach out, and we'll email it to you if we have to.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much, my friend. I appreciate it.
All right, buddy.
Okay. You too. Take care.
All righty.
All righty. Bye-bye. All right. Howard Dolgon, owner of the Syracuse Crunch. We're going to take a quick commercial break, and we'll be right back to wrap things up.
Visit My Little Falls and stay connected with the latest news, information, and events in the city and the area. Our mission is to generate interest in the community and connect residents in a more meaningful way by facilitating deeper conversations about how these stories will shape the future of the Mohawk Valley. Join thousands of weekly visitors who stay up to date with feature stories, interviews, videos, our event calendar, and print publication, the Mohawk Valley Express. It's about timely local news for the community, keeping citizens informed about important issues, telling about the people who live and work here, and giving locally owned businesses the opportunity to reach a very targeted audience of locals and tourists alike. It's a whole new form of media-rich content developed specifically for today's mobile lifestyle and listeners. You can download our iOS app in the iTunes Store, listen to our country music streaming radio station, or sign up for a weekly newsletter. Stop by today at mylittlefalls.com. You'll be glad you did.
Okay, and we are back. So, yeah, once again, we want to thank Howard Dolgon for coming on. What an amazing interview that was.
That was cool.
So much fun. He really is such a down-to-earth guy for a guy who owns a franchise. He's also the kind of guy that you could just sit at a bar and just have a beer with.
Oh, he wants to party.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It would be just a bit.
He really wants this party to happen in Syracuse, which shut anyone down. I love it.
Shut the airport.
Shut down. I love it.
That was funny.
It really was.
Shut it all down.
Well, the Crunch are playing at home Friday and Saturday night. So Friday night, they're hosting the Utica Comets in an intra-Central New York rivalry game. And, of course, Saturday is the big day for the Hockey Hall of Fame induction, or Syracuse Hockey Hall of Fame induction. They're going to have that pregame ceremony like we had mentioned before the game. That game starts at 7 o'clock, and they are playing the defending Calder Cup champion, the Hershey Bears. Well, that's all the time we have. Like I said, once again, thank you to Howard Dolgon for coming on. And that we do appreciate everybody listening and watching and subscribing, of course, on the Studio 25 Podcast Network. So for Dave the Save Warner, I'm Scott Kinville. We will see you next